Caleb, how's it going today?
It's going well, Billy. How are you?
I'm doing well. So there's a lot going on for you and for the band. You have a new show that just premiered on Pure Flix on the 12th. It's called A Show About Anthem Lights. Talk to me a little bit about this show. What can people expect from this?
It's silly. It's so insanely ridiculous. It's almost a parody of our real lives. We've been doing music together for 10 years and we're like brothers. It's been kind of a family feel for a lot of years now. And so this show is just kind of about us figuring out life together, music together, business together, in a really zany, silly way.
Well, and it's animated, right? Which is really unique because you guys could have done a lot of different things, right? You could have done a reality show, not that you'd want to, but you could have. You could have done whatever. What made you guys choose animation?
So our good friend and longtime producer Rob Hawkins, he created the show, he came to us with this idea about almost 4 years ago, and just sort of made a pitch because like you just mentioned, we had discussed like a live action movie about like our story, and we've discussed like doing a reality situation and just like what's an interesting way to do an inside peek at what we do for a living, and he pitched this idea of an animated show, which we thought was a great idea because it didn't feel self-involved, like it didn't feel like it was
Right.
taking ourselves too serious. It was just kind of fun, and it was music based, which we liked. It was like another facet of music that we love, the fun upbeat pop stuff, which usually we're looking longingly into a camera and it's real serious, but on the show all the music is really fun and upbeat and jokey, and so we just really gravitated towards the idea of doing something fun.
So let's talk about the music because there's a lot of music. It is a really fun show. This music, I'm assuming now some of it's kind of silly and fun. It's all original music to the show, most of it.
It is. All of it is original. Mostly written by Rob, he's written all the episodes and he's putting together most of the music. And we join him and collaborate on some of the writing as well. But yeah, it's all original, no covers. So we're excited. I think there's like 52 songs in season 1. So it's a huge amount of music.
It's a lot of music. It's a lot of music. All right. So you're doing this, you're putting it out there. What for you? And you mentioned a lot of little tidbits of information there. Obviously, it's a way to kind of tell your story in a fun way. It's unique. It's not too self-involved. You get to kind of poke fun at yourselves and have a good time with it. But at the end of the day, when the season's done and the audience has had a chance to watch this great show, what is it that you want people to take away from it?
Maybe that we just don't, I don't know. I guess people may have preconceived notions about what it's like to be in Christian music, or what it's like to be a cover artist, or what it's like to be a singer. I don't know. Maybe people just have ideas about Anthem Lights. And I think we just, again, we like the idea of doing something that was completely flipped on its head. Like we're not serious. It's not emotional. It's completely silly. And I've always thought the guys are really funny. We have so many laughs and such a good time together that it's like, man, I wish the how do we put this in the music without it being like out of place? And this was finally like, hey, we can actually be ourselves and be hilarious, and it makes sense, and it'd be right for what we're creating.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. Like getting a chance to like have fun and put something out that lets you have your real personality, maybe just, laugh a little bit. I would imagine it's hard to do that when you're creating real music and putting it out there and there's a limited sort of opportunity for people to see who you are. Getting a chance to do it in this animated TV show form is probably one of the best ways to do it.
Sure. Yeah. And it's a new opportunity for us. We've never acted before. And although we're playing ourselves, we're playing dialed up versions of ourselves, kind of, like I said, parodies of ourselves. So it's fun to kind of get into character, if you will.
Well, yeah, it's exciting and people can watch it on Pure Flix. Now, just to talk a little bit about Anthem Lights, because I think a lot of people, and I say this often in interviews, they get a chance to become sort of a fan of a band or of a musician, and you sort of like meet that band where they are, you follow their music, but you don't always get a chance to know who are people, where did they come from? Can you tell us a little bit about what were the roots of Anthem Lights? Because you guys have been together now. You mentioned it's been a decade. So just talk about how you guys came together.
Yeah, man, it's been a winding path. It started back in Virginia at Liberty University. It began actually as a solo project for Chad. Like he and one of the original members, Alan, were writing for his solo project, working with a producer there. And they got to talking one day, and they're like, "Man, this might be more interesting and more unique if it were a group. Like, what would it look like if we were to add a couple of voices to this?" And Chad was super into the idea. He grew up, as we all did, on vocal groups, Christian groups and the boy band era in the '90s, and we loved, we all love vocal music, vocal pop music. Um, and so I was going to Liberty at the time, and Chad had been a student there, and so we met through Liberty. And so the four original members began there and started having discussions with labels in town, in Nashville, excuse me. And so we eventually moved to Nashville, did a Christian label deal there, and travel did the 150 shows a year for a couple years touring, and sort of did the traditional Christian music model. After we parted ways with our label after our first record, and we just kind of in the interim, as we were shopping other deals, we did some YouTube covers because we felt like that was when Twitter and YouTube and things were really starting to take off in 2011, 2012. And we felt like we had a lot of momentum online, but we didn't want to lose that as we were trying to figure out what the next move was. So we just did some YouTube covers, and in that process, discovered that we could reach millions and millions of eyeballs on the internet, whereas we had just spent our entire life basically on the road trying to get in front of eyes. We did a
Yeah.
video and it got a million views. Like, wait a minute, I think we could stay home and make music and do it this way. And so that started the process of making digital content, creating music videos, and we've been doing that for a number of years now, and have been able to find a way to make a living, not playing shows, but staying home with our families and just creating content. And I think, to bring it full circle, this animated series is just a further extension of that. Like, how can we think outside of the box of the traditional, typical model and create different content that would reach new eyeballs?
See, that's pretty amazing too that you had that journey, right? Because you guys kinda you were saying it was 2011, 2012. You're hitting it at the time when a lot of people were trying to figure out the social platforms. You guys have a huge blueprint and footprint rather on social media. You've got millions of followers, and that's amazing getting a chance to kind of find another way to do what you love, but to have a little twist on it, get to be with your families, not have to be on the road every single second. And now with this Pure Flix show, you have this chance to again introduce new people to your music, serve your fans in a really fun way. But I have to ask you because you told that story. It started at Liberty. I mean, a lot of people start bands, right? A lot of people come together and they've got big dreams. Could you have ever imagined that you would have ended up where you are now? Like when you look back over the last decade, I would imagine it's probably crazy for you to look at.
Yeah, I mean, it feels divine in some ways, and it's been, like I said, it's been a winding path. A lot of heartbreak. Labels dropping and members quitting, and a lot of moments along the way. We're like, well, maybe this isn't supposed to be anymore. And we just kind of keep putting our foot in front of the other, and new doors open, and we try to run through them and do the best we can, and we're just. It's a fun time to be in music. It's an interesting time to be in music, and like I said, we're always looking for new ways to reach different people. And so we're excited about this show.
How does your faith drive you? I'm curious in that because I know this is it's a tough industry, and I think people probably don't realize, yes, Christian music is Christian music, but it's still a business. How do you rely on your faith to sort of navigate the dynamics that I would imagine are sometimes difficult?
It is difficult because I think specifically for us, just because we have strayed, so to speak, from the typical CCM worship artist model. Um, Truthfully, because I guess we don't see it as a Christian band. We are men of faith, and we're the people in the band are Christians, but the band is just a band. And so we try to just live as authentically as we can as individuals and let that pour in through the music how it does, but also not force a branding narrative or something onto the band itself.
Sure.
But like I said, faith is a huge part of our lives, and it will always be a huge component of what we do. And with PureFlix specifically, it's such an amazing opportunity to truly embrace that community. Like, and just regardless of us trying to be a Christian band or force faith into anything we do, it's just we're thrilled to just sort of like wrap our arms around the Pure Flix community and the Christian community. Be like, look, we're Christians, you're Christians. We want to create clean content. You want to watch clean content. So this is a match made in heaven.
I love that. Now I got to go back to the show and ask a couple of questions because it's obviously zany, it's fun. There's a lot of great storylines. I don't want to spoil any of them in these episodes. Now, you said this was a way to kind of show people a lens into your lives and to make that fun and to give people that look. How many of these storylines, and maybe none of them are, but I'm actually curious, are like loosely based on a true story?
Uh, I don't think any of them are completely made up. Every plot line is based in some facet of reality. I mean, they're ridiculous and they're overdone, but I mean, every episode is loosely done. Like when we've auditioned for the silly, singing competition shows, and so that the first episode you can watch online right now is about us auditioning for an episode of Star Crushers, which is a parody of American Idol or The Voice or whatever, which we have auditioned for and failed miserably. So it's all based on actual life experience. My favorite episode is an episode called Food Fight, and it's about we're just at a restaurant and we're all ordering different, what we order, but much like real life, we all have very different dietary restrictions. Joey's vegan, and Chad usually eats keto, and Spencer lives for fast food, and I have my own thing. Like we all have our different, preferences. And the entire episode is just us being insanely difficult at a restaurant trying to get our order right. And each of us have a different silly song about the type of diet that we're on. And it's fun. Like it's fun to just kind of like be inspired by a real life and put that into the show.
So that's interesting. Like there's a little bit of truth to all of these things. Like there may be
Yeah.
something, maybe it didn't happen exactly that way. And I love the plays on the names of the people, who were on Star Crushers. That was a great. It was a lot of fun that episode.
Right.
Now as a parent, because you're a parent, you've got young kids. How old are your kids?
1, 3, and 5.
1, 3, and 5. That is wow. That's crazy. So now obviously
I'm
this
tired.
is I was gonna say you probably don't sleep a whole lot.
Yeah.
But this is a show for everyone. Obviously, this is a show for any age really. But have you shown your 5-year-old? Have you shown your kids any of these episodes?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And what are their reactions?
Uh, they think it's hilarious. They're mind blown when they hear my voice because they don't. I don't think they're old enough quite to like see my image and think, oh, that looks like Daddy. But when I speak, they're like, "What?
Right.
That sounds just like you." I'm like, "Baby, it is me. Like this is a show about Daddy's band. Like that's Mr. Spencer and that's Mr. I'm trying to like help them put the pieces
And it's like
together.
over their heads.
Yes,
It's like
yes.
what?
Yeah, I mean the giant concern for my 5-year-old was the antagonist character Tommy, who has he's just like this. He's sort of like our nemesis band leader or whatever, and his eyes and
Yeah.
teeth are extremely yellow, which is just kind of like I guess a way to let the audience know he's the villain.
Yeah, they're noticeable. The yellow teeth. They're very
Yeah,
noticeable.
that's
But
pretty
yes.
gross. And he was like, Daddy, why is that man's eyes yellow? Like he just didn't understand, and I was like, yeah, that's a fair question.
It's a very
I think
fair
it's
question.
so that he's the bad guy. But yeah, they love it.
I love that. Well, I'm super excited about the show, and I know the audience is absolutely going to love it. At the end of the day, when all is said and done, what for you is success for this show?
Uh, well, the goal obviously is for Pure Flix to gain subscribers, so that would be a win for them, and for us, it's to connect with a new audience. I think it's a collaboration. We want to use our fan base and hopefully point them to Pure Flix. Like, hey, this is a great alternative to media, and hopefully Pure Flix will do the same for us. Like, hey, here's a band that you can trust with your family. They make good, wholesome, hopefully uplifting, inspiring content. So that would be a win if we could share some of those fans.
That's a huge win, and as well as I do that the audience who wants this content, the people who are watching to this right now and listening to this, these are people who are looking for things that they can safely watch with their family, enjoy, and not have to compromise anything for that. And that's such a huge thing, and there's such a lack of that content, despite this massive audience of people out there. So I commend you guys for creating this show and putting this out there so that people can have a good laugh with everyone in their family and really enjoy it. So thanks so much for doing that.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like we just discussed, I have kids, and I'll put on YouTube or whatever for them, like YouTube Kids, and like while the content I select is usually fine for them, every once in a while an ad will come across that is not really geared towards children, and I'm like, what what is happening? Like, so Pure Flix is kind of a breath of fresh air. You can just
Like,
sort of
why is this happening? Right.
yeah, you can just kind of trust that like this is good.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I so appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on today. And everyone else, it's a show about Anthem Lights. Check it out right now on Pure Flix. We'll have to have you back again sometime soon.
I'd love it. Yeah, let's get all the guys in here.